We are live from the Mattamy Athletic Center here in Toronto, where we are ready to break down Kentucky's 81-73 victory over Team Germany to open the 2023 Global Jam. Jack Pilgrim here with Stephen Peak and 50 Cent instrumentals playing on in the background. Stephen, a really impressive victory. I know there was so much talk about the level of competition and just the physicality and it being a U23 FIBA event, that this wouldn't be 40-year-olds that have been hungover playing craps all night like we saw in the Bahamas last year. This is going to be real competition, and we got a real sense of that, I think, in this opener for against Team Germany.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys you can look at the stat sheet and pull right off. I mean, Adu Thiero was the guy that, for me, like, just seeing his improvement. We saw him, during some of these interviews, we saw how much bigger he's gotten. His arms are bigger, but he played like it today. Really love what I saw out of him, and of course, I mean, getting to see some of these guys, we've seen them play individually, we've seen them play on their high school teams or, their academy teams, but we haven't really seen them play as a team, and I thought they really looked good. I don't want this to be like Bahamas Part 2 where this team could go undefeated, but they looked good. I mean, there was a few things, like I thought Germany moved the ball really well, and then, like Cal said, they shot a lot of threes. There were a few times Kentucky wasn't able to close out, and they got lost a little bit on defense. But Cal said they had 10 practices. With 10 practices in one game, they looked really good.
Biggest, I think, takeaway leading up to this event, before even the injury, was what is Ugonna Onyenso? How much have we seen him grow, and can he be the anchor down low that Kentucky kind of needs? And then we don't even get the chance to see what that looks like. He injures his ankle in the scrimmage yesterday against some Africa team. I don't know if it's the team that, whereas we get Ed Sheeran on in the background now.
Let's go ahead and mix. I like them mixing the sound together and making it loud. It wasn't this loud when we started this recording.
They're trying to tune us out. They can't limit us from talking about our Cats. But Ugonna, the storyline was just what kind of impact he was going to make. He hurts himself. We don't even get to see him. However, it does allow Trey Mitchell to slide over to the 5. Adu Thiero starts at the 4, and then kind of work with a 3-guard lineup from there, a 4-guard lineup for the Cats. I think the story of this game was the versatility, shot making, spacing, and just switchability, being able to play 4 guards. I kind of like what I saw. I know you got to get Ugo back one way or the other, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I do like the fact that Cal knows that he has a really versatile group that can have a 5-man lineup where every position on the floor can make shots.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted from Kentucky basketball. We felt like even maybe last year they had enough guys that they could have spread the floor, maybe gone 4 out, even in some cases gone 5 out, And it was interesting coming into today when I saw Ugo in the boot that I was like, man, this kind of sucks. But like Cal was saying in the post game, one player's pain is another player's opportunity. And Trey Mitchell, man, did you think that's what Kentucky was getting when they got Trey? They were going to get a sniper from 3-point range?
Well, that's what he was known for at West Virginia, as being a face-up guy, but I don't think to the true stretch 4, stretch 5 extent that we saw today. I mean, the fact that he struggled a little bit to start with, again, I think physicality is going to be an issue for him. He's never been a brute, true physical presence, but what he has been is a finesse face-up big, capable of stepping out and knocking down jump shots. And then he goes for 20 points, 7 of 13 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3, 4 3-pointers, and a stretch big role as Kentucky's starting 5. Just think back to the start of June when Antonio Reeves was wishy-washy. We don't know what's going on there, and Trey Mitchell was still had a head coach at West Virginia, and there was no issue there. I mean, just think back to then versus where we are right now. Those two combined for 44 points on efficient shooting. Kentucky doesn't win this game without Trey Mitchell. Sure as heck don't win it without Antonio Reeves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm smiling right now. You just brought up something that we were. How long ago was it? Like a few weeks ago. I'm messaging you, going like, "What the hell is going on? Like, are we going in for another disaster?" This is only my 2nd year doing this with KSR, and I'm like, I just don't. Last year was fine, but they were very mediocre. For a lot of programs, that was probably a decent year. For Kentucky, it wasn't. So, just a few weeks ago, I felt like I was in panic mode, as a fan, and I think we've done a complete 180. I just on Twitter, just like going through what fans are saying. I mean, it's just a complete 180 from where we were just a month ago when you had like 4 guys on the roster, 6 guys on the roster, and you didn't even know should they even play in this tournament? Did they even have enough guys to go? And now we're like, they're going to go 4-0. They may never lose another game ever again. You know, I mean, there's a lot of overreactions that will happen and stuff like this. But when you got like Antonio Reeves, does this not fit him perfectly? Is this team just not? It fits him perfectly.
I think that was a different Antonio Reeves than what we saw last year. Even though he won the MVP honors last year in the Bahamas, there was a clear assertiveness and control about his game where it's like he now knows that he's the vet. He now knows that this is his team. Yes, DJ Wagner is the alpha. He's the guy that's kind of taking command of the locker room. Rob Dillingham has his own flair and entertainment. We'll talk about that in a second. But it really feels like Antonio Reeves knows that everything kind of revolves around him from a stylistic perspective, and that he knows that he's going to go out and he's going to get his 20 every game. He was a SEC Sixth Man of the Year for a reason. He was a 14-point per game, shooting 41% from 3 all season in his debut season for a reason. And I think we're going to see a new level of confidence and growth from Antonio Reeves. And I think what we saw today was a clear example of that.
You know, another thing that Cal talked about was like they haven't had really a chance to put in many inbounds plays, but they had that side inbounds that everyone's raving about online. 1 second to go. Reed Shepherd throws a beautiful pass to Jordan Burks. I also looked at Cal on the bench, and he was like, he kind of gave this look to Tyler Ulis, like, hey, like that was your play, and he gave him a little low 5 on the bench, and I was like, oh, Tyler Ulis drawing up some plays for the side. You know, one of the critiques Cal gets is the lack of inbounds plays, but maybe he's got Ulis over there drawing stuff up, and he said he wants this team to play like Ulis. But let me ask you this: I mean, there was what they shoot 27 threes, which that's a lot. I think they shot 30 something against Texas A&M at one point last year, but. Do you think that once you get Aaron Bradshaw back and once you get Onyenso back, is this going to be a team you're going to see them shoot 26 to 33s a game?
Cal said in his post-game press conference that this might be a team that shoots 27 threes or more this season, which was like, well, but if you look at it again from a stylistic perspective, if you have shooting at all 5 positions and you run a true dribble drive where it's getting paint touches and kicking or finishing around the basket, that's how this team was built, and you just got to be able to make shots. And again, Reed Shepherd, you brought up Reed on that pass. I'd heard he's been a knockdown shooter and kind of been thriving in that specific role. He didn't make shots today, but he still managed to make an impact. 6 assists, very efficient with the ball, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, no turnovers. Reed was sensational, kind of filling his role. Rob Dillingham's going to make shots. Antonio Reeves is going to make shots. DJ Wagner, I think he hit a couple big threes that DJ's not known for being the shooter, but even he was able to step back and knock down a couple shots. I'm not expecting Trey Mitchell to go out and hit 4 threes every single game, but the style of play is the big picture here, the big takeaway here, that I don't know if we're going to see a 27 three per game type of team, but they have the weapons to play that way, and I'm certainly feeling a lot more confident today than I was a week ago.
Well, before we close this out, maybe just tell me why I need to temper my expectations, because of course now it's just like, well, this team, when they really get going, this is with 10 practices, they put up 81 points today, and I thought even though they give up 73 points, I thought they did well on defense too, for the most part. Why do I need to maybe just relax a little bit, I guess, going into the year?
Well, they gave up 13 threes on the other end. And again, as Cal said afterward, 41 threes that Germany took. FIBA, like that. European basketball, that's the style that they play. So it's not even that much of an indicator. But my big concern about this team was going to be defense, because I didn't know if they had the physical tools to be an elite defensive team or even a high-level defensive team. But I think if they grind the way they showed today, I think they would at least fit. I don't think they were an elite defensive team today, but I still thought the way they fought and the way they closed out on threes and at least got shot contests, and I think they at least have the mindset and the motor to be a high-level defensive team, or at minimum an average team. And I think because of the offensive tools that they clearly have, shooting, spacing, playmaking, they have all of that on the offensive end, where I think they're going to score a ton of points. But my big concern was on the defensive end, and the fact that they were able to show that effort, that young talent doesn't always show. That made me feel a lot more confident. But you never know what this team is going to be. They struggle with physicality again. When you have Ugo and Aaron Bradshaw both out, they had zero interior presence whatsoever. If Germany was even remotely not one-dimensional, all they could do is shoot threes. If they could finish even remotely well inside, it would have been a closer game. So I really want to see what this team is against an elite interior presence because we just don't know yet. And I think we'll see that later on this week. Just other teams kind of fit in that mold a little bit better. So it's kind of a wait-and-see game for me, inside especially. I think they have the offensive tools. I think they have the playmaking and spacing and facilitating. But defensively and inside physical presence, I still think they're a big old question mark in my mind.
Well, I mean, a lot of positives to take. I mean, I didn't realize Germany missed more threes than Kentucky took. I didn't realize they missed 28 threes. I remember them making most of them. But yeah, I mean, like this, I'm excited. I think that was a good showing. Do you think that if they play Germany again on Sunday? I know a German player went over and talked to Cal and said, I want to see you guys again on Sunday, 8 o'clock. So
we'll see. Canada, there's a lot of talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being in attendance, Jamal Murray's dad coming in. Cal was joking that he didn't know if they'd be rooting for their former school in Kentucky or their home country. So that's going to be interesting.